Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Customer TV. I'm Rafer Weigel.
And I'm Mike Giambattista. Rafer, let's get right to the headlines.
Burger King, the latest fast food chain to throw its crown into the loyalty ring, adding a rewards program for customers. Data shows that loyalty members do spend more than non-loyalty members. Mike, a lot of fast food chains are doing this. Why should all of them follow suit, do you think?
Well, as you just mentioned, it's proven to be good business. Loyalty program members spend more than non-loyalty program members. But in this case, the interesting stat in the whole thing is that 12% of US restaurants employed a loyalty program over last year. So the question is, where were these people last year?
GroupM has created a global app to help marketers evaluate their data from an ethical standpoint. The software provides a scale to measure just how above board a company's data gathering strategy is. Mike, do we really need an app for this, or could we just rely on human judgment?
Well, the app's not a bad idea. There's a lot of uptake and there's a lot of media play over that particular application. The interesting thing about it, though, is if you dig into the story, it really turns out to be much more about de-risking messaging than it is about providing better, deeper engagement with the customer. Can we have both? Remains to be seen.
Forecasters are predicting the economy will heart Valentine's Day this year. Last year, retail sales topped $27 billion for the holiday as COVID has not slowed down Cupid. Mike, what do you make of this?
Well, I think there's a lot behind it. Primarily the fact that the entire world is operating online. So those of you, us potentially, who might have been stumped for something to do last year, this year it's just a lot easier. But if it's supposed to be a 20% increase over what happened last year, that raises the bar for the rest of us. What are you going to do, Rafer, to be 20% better this year?
Oh, I know. I'm already dreading it. Wait, did I say that out loud? Never mind. Today's discussion on the minds of marketers right now is how to create a better customer experience as privacy regulations and rules continue to evolve and customer empowerment is on the rise. Today, we're talking to three experts in the field whose job it is to help companies navigate this landscape. Brian Rants from Cordial, Carl Doty, and Dave Frankland from Atlaas. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Brian, let's start with you. How do you reconcile these two challenges, these two paradigms? And I'm sure it's not a simple answer.
Yeah, no, it's not. One of my favorite quotes from Charles Mingus is, making the simple complicated is commonplace, making the complicated simple, that's creativity. And right now, marketers have to employ a lot of creativity. They have customers that are demanding a ton from them, and they have systems that weren't necessarily set up to enable them to reconcile those differences. So a lot of what we look at is, first of all, again, the organization itself has to have a value for the customer experience, right? And the motivation to see it through. And then secondarily, obviously working on the technology side, it's about building technology that gives them the ability to ingest that data, clean it, unify it, and then make it in a format that marketers can take action, right? But the tools need to make that process and sharing easier, not harder.
You mentioned something I think is really interesting, and that's first of all, the company has to have the will to basically endure the pain they're going to have to reconcile these forces. How do you facilitate that? How do you nurture that process?
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, in my role, a lot of it is around storytelling, right? Telling the stories of great clients that have achieved this and the impact of their business. Almost needs to become that ability internally, like who's going to be the champion of the customer that's going to share their story with the rest of the company. And some of the simple ways we'll do it often, right, is just go through a seeing tour, whatever you want to call it, of the brand. And, often it's pretty quick. You're like, hey, I gave my email and mobile number, and I got two different offers. And now I'm on the site and I see a third offer that doesn't match for the other two. So quickly, if you can, again, help companies turn the binoculars around and kind of see from the viewpoint of the customer, here's what it's actually like to buy from you, and then build those champions internally that want to fix that experience. Then it's a matter of people then kind of relinquishing control of their individual priorities and focusing on the customer's experience.
This isn't going to happen organically unless somebody within the organization takes control and recognizes a need to change and a need to rethink their approach. We advocate for starting from the point of view of the customer. And if you start from the point of view of what's valuable to the customer, privacy is actually less of an obstacle and more of an opportunity. This is a chance to build trust and to advocate for the customer inside the organization to bring everybody along. And then the sort of what's the right technology and process and these sorts of things you start to look at that through a different lens. You start to look at it from the point of view of how do we enable this required change, rather than what's the right technology to help me reach somebody at a given time of day and all that kind of thing, which is, I think, a very old school way of thinking about some of these things.
I was going to add something too here. I really liked Brian's answer in that it wasn't necessarily about a technology, right? I think for a lot of years, too many marketers thought that they just needed some new MarTech tool that was going to solve their problem. Obviously, that's not the case. But I think in implementing those technologies, or today's more contemporary technologies, it's as much about business process as it is about anything else, right? And the data that we have about consumers, coupled with the technological abilities that we have in our software, gives marketers and advertisers a lot of capability, and that can sometimes be a dangerous thing. So what I often tell advertisers is just because you can doesn't mean you should.
So data privacy and the desire for deeper customer engagement could be at odds depending on how you choose to view them and in what context. I mean, yes, we've heard it described as the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, but it really isn't that way. It seems to me, what I'm interpreting, what you're saying, is that a more nuanced approach ends up being, to quote Dave Franklin, an opportunity, not an obstacle.
I think it goes way beyond messaging too, right? So when I hear personalization, I think when most of us hear personalization, when it started as a term within marketing, it was sort of the website or the colors or the subject line, and it goes way beyond that. So I think if you think about personalization at the deepest level, it can be what's the right product for you. It can be, it could be that not engaging is the most personal thing we can do because that's what's valuable to you right now. And so I think if you're starting from the point of view of what's valuable to the customer, it changes how you think about it. You know, it's respecting that customer's time is very personal. And they may be looking for information. They may be looking for entertainment. They may be looking for any number of other things other than an offer sort of thing, where I think most marketers, when you throw around the term personalization, it's, we saw where you're browsing, we saw what you clicked on, we're going to personalize the next message to make you do those things again, as opposed to we're going to do those things to deliver value to you based on what we've interpreted you're looking for from this relationship.
Yeah, Dave, maybe one of the best examples of that I've seen is one of our clients in the gifting space, a anniversary reminder of a gift you sent. Right. So that birthday for mom, whatever, that's a thing that is highly useful. When you get it, you're like, oh crap, it's only a week away. I need to, buy that gift. It's extremely useful to the person. It adds value to them. And it's not just like, here's an offer. It's like, hey, just a quick reminder, give that gift to mom. And here's a link to make that easier.
Yeah. And you can take that to the next level, right? Because there's a danger, I think, especially around Valentine's Day, you get 55 of those reminders, or around the holidays kind of thing. But like, as a reminder, here's what you gave last year. Here's what goes great with it. Or that type of thing, right? That just, again, it's a little bit more than everybody who bought from us last year. Hey, look, it's 360 days ago. Here's a reminder. It's kind of it is truly personal.
In my opinion, that's not that difficult to pull off, yet it is quite personalized. But all too often, I mean, how many times have we seen advertisers, they end up with, whether it's a cookie or, some data element they have about a consumer, and the next thing you know, they think it's personalized. All they're doing is targeting an advertisement for a specific product wherever that consumer goes. Not only is that creepy, it's annoying, it's intrusive, and it does brand damage. But yet that advertiser who's buying that space thinks they're being quote unquote personalized.
Well, gentlemen, this has been a fascinating conversation. I wish we could go a little bit longer, but we have to meet our customers' needs and keep it short. So thank you so much. And we look forward to talking again soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.